Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Daksh, the founder of Blub World magazine, that works on the focus of finding teenagers who are doing inspiring work in life and sharing their work with other teenagers. We work on the simple concept of teens inspiring teens. Till date, we have covered nearly 250 such teenagers from across the globe. And from time to time, we try to bring out industry white papers on the K-12 education sector, typically documenting what all innovative is going on within schools. In a part of that series itself, we started this Blub World Web Talks since the lockdown began. And today we are happy to welcome all of you in the 36th session of this. Till now, 35 sessions of this sort have been conducted, and more than 370 school leaders from 60 plus geographies from across the globe have participated and shared their views on innovations in education. Just to give you a small reference on the kind of ideas that we've been getting, there's a very small village called Padua in West Bengal. They didn't have good internet, but they wanted to, continue schooling. So they gave a very innovative assignment to their students. They told them to create a custom dictionary at home by adding 5 new words every day and bringing that dictionary back to school once the school reopens. There's one school, Indian Embassy School in UAE. They started doing something called Cartoon Speaks, which was to develop the interpretation skills of students. They told them to cut the cartoon strip within the newspaper or magazine that they get at home and write an interpretation of that cartoon on a piece of paper and prepare a flashcard, and then prepare a comic of this sort and bring that comic once the school reopens. There's one school that has asked students to do a daily news report on their surroundings. That's what's going on around you, report that. So people have been doing some amazing stuff. For the first 30 sessions, the topic was no lockdowns on learning, which was typically to find out what innovative were schools doing during this lockdown. And after 30 sessions, we prepared a white paper which will get published this month on the 15th. And now we're preparing the second white paper on the post-lockdown school. We all know that, and what we can all understand is this way or the concept or the idea of a school, the way we know it and the way we've been practicing it, has already been obliterated. It does not exist anymore. You might not have realized it, but yes, it does not. The lockdown will just be a formality that it opens, and you'll come to know that yes, the reality has changed. And it's actually now, it's in the moment. There is nothing, of a similar idea or the way we knew a school that exists right now. There won't be a class the way we had. There won't be a transportation system the way we had. Things have changed. There is no will or might attached to it. This is already a reality. And right now we're trying to find out what all innovations would schools do in the post-lockdown world. We're not trying to find out operational issues because we know that we'll be following social distancing, we'll be taking care of the school in shifts. These are operational schools that most of you must have already prepared SOP on. How would we open the school once it happens? The reason why we have all of you here is to find out what innovation will you do in pedagogy. Because the kind of student that you'll get post this lockdown won't be the same. His characteristics or his persona would have changed. And the kind of teacher that you'll get back into your school would have changed. And more drastically, what you needed or wanted out of a teacher has also changed. Because now you don't know, is school a half-day affair anymore? We don't know that. It might be a full-day affair with 2 shifts, so the HR policies will change. So there'll be a lot of changes. So during the next 20, 30, 40 minutes, we'll try to know idea on what do you think would change or would happen in the post-lockdown school. Just to give you an idea, just a day before yesterday, we had the principal of the Kalinga Institute. They teach nearly 50,000 tribal children on one campus without charging any fees. He shared a very nice line. I'm just sharing it because I like those words, but I think there is much more to those words. A school is an institution by definition, which is supposed to bring the society together. We are the ones who taught everybody that what is, being together. And now we are supposed to teach a paradox, social distancing. So how will we do that? So let's find out the ideas and innovations that you think would happen in the post-lockdown school. Before we start, I'll just explain the format of this. We want to finish it on time so that none of your schedules get disturbed. So Each one of you gets 2.5 minutes to speak first, 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Once your 2 minutes, 30 seconds are over, you can all see Divya Purohit on the screen. He's the timekeeper. He will put his one hand up. And then you have 30 more seconds to conclude. And once your 2 minutes and 30 seconds, that means 3 minutes are over, he'll put his second hand up. And that is the time that we would expect that you conclude. And at that time, we might have to mute you. And if you get muted, please don't get offended. It is just to finish this whole process in time, and so that none of your schedules get disturbed. I hope that you enjoyed the coming next 20, 30 minutes, because till now we have enjoyed it a lot and we had some amazing ideas coming in. We're sharing those ideas every day on the Blub World social media platforms, and we are publishing some of the best ideas that are coming in. The purpose or the target or the aim of doing this activity was very simple. Every section of the society is supposed to contribute to the society with its own capabilities, with its own understanding, perception and experience. We as the knowledge ecosystem are not just supposed to deliver knowledge. We are also supposed to create the knowledge that the world would need in the future. So this very activity is just to create that knowledge and create those idea and innovation repositories. So let's now hear it from you. I think I've had a very big starting. So thank you so much for listening. And once again, welcome to the Blub World Web Talks 36th session. Thank you so much for joining. Let's start. I'll take your name. You can unmute your audio, and then the next 3 minutes are yours. Let's first hear it from Trilok sir. Trilok sir, over to you for the next 3 minutes. You can unmute your audio. Try to give us your introduction, and then what do you think will happen in the post-lockdown school? Over to you.
Good evening, everyone. This is Trilok Singh Bish, the principal of DPSG Vasundhara in the NCR. And, we have seen that this lockdown came to us as a shocker, but the teachers are always there to take the challenges, and we've taken the bull with the horn and we made it so effective. Rather, the online teaching became a norm as if we were doing it from ages. Everybody did, every school, in fact, even the small schools started with it, which shows that man is ready to take the challenges when it comes to them. And when I talk about the lockdown, digital literacy was always there. We had the digital platforms already with us, but we never knew, except for the mails and few more things, we didn't know how to use it in the interest of the students. But I think we really used it very beautifully. And now we have all become full-fledged online schools, but very soon we are going to get this lockdown lifted up. Then what the schools are going to be like that. That is I think, point of discussion today. So I would say that after the lockdown, there are two things will not change at all. It will remain in force at least till the end of this session, at least for this year. That is maintaining the social distancing, and second is the self-protection hygiene. These two things are going to be in everybody's mind. Parents will be very, they will be very apprehensive sending the children to the school. So the schools will have to think of some alternate ways. Alternate days, 50% students coming to the school, so that 1 meter distance all around is kept in the classes also. And we'll have to get away with the gatherings, like the assemblies, like the sports periods, and the places where the drama, theater, all this will have to take more on the online, where the social distancing is maintained, and yet the children are learning a lot of things. And only a particular segment of school will open initially in every school, and preferably the senior secondary and the secondary classes. Juniors will not experiment with, and that too will call them on 50% strength and on alternate days, so that we could see that, how it is going on, whether it works out or not. And every school will have to have proper sanitization channels or the tunnels right at the gate. We'll have the we'll have to have the infrared thermometer where we can see if the children are coming with a fever or something. I think all those precautions we'll have to take. We'll have to suspend all those activities where the gathering is needed, as I said. And of course, when I talk about post-lockdown schools, we'll have to establish the multiple points for the children to board and alight the buses. We'll have to increase the number of pickup points. At one point, if every child is coming, there'll again be no social distancing. Earlier, we were putting one pickup point and all the children were collecting. Now we'll have to add on multiple points for the children to board and alight from the buses, setting up the sanitization process at entry point of all the schools, sanitization tunnels, hand washing points, etc. to be arranged well before we open up. 7 days before opening up, we have to do a complete rigorous exercise. Demarcation or demarcating no entry or close areas for the staff, students, and the visitors. I can't see Purohit, I have to see his hand. Yeah. School infirmary to be more equipped with the, with the equipments like thermal sensors, sand sanitizers, hand sanitizers, then gloves, etc. for the medical advisory. Also, a stand of vehicle or the ambulance, a standby vehicle or ambulance has to be there in the school in case there is a medical emergency. We should be able to take the child quickly to the hospital or the nearby medical aid. So we have to be a little extra careful. We have to have the restricting the number of students visiting the washrooms. Even in the washroom, you find the children go to while away that time. They all go together in a gang, stand there, talk. Now we'll have to be a little extra careful. The people have to be put on duty there. That not more than 2 children going inside. And even I believe, as a principal, I feel if there are 6 urinals, every alternate urinal has to be blocked, so that even while using the urinals, using the washroom, a proper social distancing is taken care of. At least till the end of the session, we have to be extra and very, very extra careful altogether about it. Exploring the possibility of setting up a sanitization. Just a minute, there's a phone call. So, yeah, exploring the possibility of setting a sanitization tunnel with the help of outsourced vendors who are giving us the manpower. We can ask them what could be their contribution, for which they can charge us whatever they want. I think only 30 seconds are left. So housekeeping, even the housekeeping will have to have all outsourced people to be in the school 7-8 days before, so that we sanitize them, we check them, we see that everybody of them is fit to be working in the school. Tunnel sanitization by the housekeeping people. The face mask has to be compulsory for every child, every teacher, every housekeeping person, every sweeper, every fourth class or support staff to be coming in. Sodium hypochlorite, goggles for the, we want the goggles for the sweepers, so that they, when they are using this hypochlorite and all, chemical doesn't affect their eyes. These were the
Lokse, we had to mute you. We will try to come back again to you. The time had overshot. We'll try to come back to you. Thank you so much. You gave a very detailed picture of the kind of school that you will have. We would want to know even more on this. Try to share more of your ideas that other schools can replicate in the post-lockdown school. There'll be a lot of SOPs that get created. And I hope we'll have that ideas from you as well. Let's now hear it from Rashmi ma'am. Rashmi ma'am, over to you for the next 3 minutes. You can unmute your audio and you can start.
Good evening, Daksh. It's like torture for a teacher to only restricted to 2 minutes and 30 seconds. We have so much of habit, and more so during the lockdown period. We've been talking, doing nothing else but supporting all the stakeholders, in the school, and just ensuring that everything is, streamlined properly. As far as the academics and other things are concerned, we all know that there has been a complete shift, right? Being a person from the IT background, this is the best thing I can ever think of having, because I've been striving for years now, around 25 years, talking to all the teachers, telling them to get on board to the digital, way of learning. But this lockdown has been a blessing, for my kind of educators who really wanted this to happen, and this has happened. And post-lockdown, now I'm very consciously, along with my team, is looking forward to more skilled teachers. Obviously, the teachers, whom we used to give one separate period for doing research online, which they used to find it a little difficult initially. But now it is getting into their habit. They are researching online because they have to prepare the material for their contact classes. In my school, we have, used the concept of flip learning. We are not going for the complete 6 hours teaching, because the screen time cannot be, enhanced for the students. In any case, they are using the mobile phones also. So, having the flip learning means the change in the lesson planning. We have changed the lesson plan structure also. We have twisted it a bit in the form that we have a pre-contact class content, then during class content, and then post-class content. So the teacher is actually working on one concept-based lesson plan, which is the first and the last part are sent to the students beforehand, before the contact class. Okay, so the child is supposed to prepare that, try the assignments, which is the third part, and then come to the contact class for doubt clearing. So I'm looking forward to more empowered students. Okay, it will be more focused on the digital learning. I'm also looking forward to, more tolerant parents, okay, and more mature, basically. And now, right this moment, when the school was on, at that time, when I used to tell the parent that the child has to learn on his own or her own, don't send them for coaching center, etc., they were not listening to me. Now, when they are seeing that their child can do it on their own, with the help of just a little support from teacher, I'm finding the parents also getting involved. So these are some things, certain things which are very good. And last thing which I would like to add is, consciously we are adding skill-based learning, very consciously. CBSE and other boards are trying hard, but we've been trying for past 2 years, wherein now I have made it mandatory for my 9th and 11th class to go for one digital course at least, skill-based course, which they have to do. And that will be counted in the internal assessment for the final exams, because we don't know how this year will go, right? So in case we need internal assessment only to promote the child, so that course certificate will play a very great role. It can be one certificate, it could be many. I mean, it's an open kind of thing given to the children. So these are my points about the post-lockdown school, and very consciously we're working on it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think we'll be very happy to share if you give us some more information on the pre-class content, during class content, and the post-class content working that you're doing in class. Please try to share with us an observation paper if you've created it. And just since we started talking about the observation paper, I would request everybody who's here. We are all witnessing a global experiment that's going on right now. The whole world has converted into typically an experimentation lab on whatever theories you ever thought could be experimented. Because right now the whole audience is in a controlled atmosphere. And if you do not experiment and find more solutions or more innovations, then I don't think that we will get a second chance. And we hope that we never get a second chance, because we don't want such a thing to come back. So please try to write an observation paper every day. And we are trying to publish some of the best observation papers that we get during this time. Just to give you an idea, there's a Swami Narayan Trust run school in Gujarat. And they're right now housing 50 students in their hostels since the lockdown began. And these 50 students come from some of the most affluent families from all across Gujarat. So we are creating an observation paper on how do they keep these kids engaged and what all do they do during this lockdown. So if you're doing anything interesting, do share it with us. Thank you so much, Rashmi ma'am, for sharing those thoughts. Let's now hear it from Anurodh sir. Over to you, sir. You can unmute your audio.
What was told by Trilok sir and ma'am, we are all good. But the thing is, we have learned the experiential learning and the theory of the constructivism. Right. So from last 2 months, children, they are on the experiential learning. I don't think that the children will come back. They will be the same kind of children there. And I assume that we are going to get some better children now. Those who have the better understanding about that how to make the entire environment safe, especially for this COVID-19 here. But the thing, what we are going to, what kind of children we are going to get after the lockdown, whether they are the same children there, their understanding will be the same, or the impact of the entanglement there, because from last 2 months they are there with the parents. They are sitting with the parents there. So they are learning, and the father is there at home, mother is at home there. So they are taking lots of things, many of the things they are learning with the parents there. From the last many years, they were not be fortunate to get those kind of things from the parents, because in the morning they used to leave the house there, rush to school, their evening tuition and all there, and they used to go to the bed there. So this is the brighter side of it there, because whatever the shortcomings we teachers have faced there in the past time, they were not turning up as a discipline. Right, so those kind of things I'm sure that we are not going to face there, because we are taking the tuitions, the Zoom classes also there. So we are seeing that the children, they are more sophisticated, they are more goal oriented now, they are more focused. So they are going to the entire uh, uh, change kind of attitude in the children there. So that's from my side.
Thank you so much, Anurag sir. I think yes, that will be a big change in the characteristic of the student, because
Exactly.
right now we can all see a very big change in the whole sector. When the globalization started, or when the commerce typically started globally, it was a seller's market. Whatever the seller used to produce, he used to sell, and that is what we were supposed to buy. With the economic development, it became a buyer's market, when the buyer's needs were gauged and the seller, adjusted himself accordingly. And I think this is the time when education sector is actually witnessing that change, that from a school's ecosystem, education will now be a learner's ecosystem. We'll have to think much more on the lines of what does the student actually want. It would be like that English movie's title, that what women want, here it will be what children want. We'll have to typically work simply on that, because keeping a kid engaged now will be a very next level challenge. So let's see what all we do. Let's now hear it from Maushumi ma'am. Maushumi ma'am, over to you for the next 3 minutes.
Right. Good evening. Thank you. So you have already said, as Mr. God said just now, so many things like, social distancing and everything, the principles, other principles have already highlighted. And as you are giving 3 minutes, I thought I'll give you some acronyms. It's so very challenging now for the parents, for the teachers and the students. So first we have to see in addition to the social impact, we have to see the psychological impact of the children. After 2 months of closure, when they come to school, what will be the repercussion? So first, we are planning to tell our staff to work on PCI. Now, what is this PCI? It is passion, compassion, and passion, because we have to be passionate to restructure and work on the restructured model of education. Compassion, because we all have to understand all children do not have the accessibility and connectivity. So what have been the trauma they have faced when they realize that the friends are learning, where there is only one mobile in the house and the father goes out for work, or if the father is in the medical sector. So what has the child done? And innovation, as you very rightly said, we have to brainstorm. Creative thinking and critical thinking need to be promoted. So we will focus more on the life skills, which is the need of the hour now. Then I thought, with all the restructured education, what we are talking about, we need total revamping, remodeling of the pedagogic and how we give the instructions. For that, we have to prepare our staff, right? So staff preparation, we would say that, okay, it will be same. Now, what is SAME? SAME is another acronym. SAME relates to skill development. 2 A's, adopt and adapt the change. Multi-layered or multi-pronged strategies to be adopted in the same class, especially in the senior secondary section. And effective educational practices with EdTech applications and e-resources, where we were not very conversant with this, but now we have to adapt ourselves. What is needed now is flexibility. And this was for the staff, for us. When we see the other side, for the children, we need a smile. We need a smile on the face after they come back to school. Now, what is this smile? SMILE is another acronym which we thought we would discuss with you. The S stands for the social distancing and sanitation, which includes their personal hygiene and even immunity. M denotes mask mandatory plus measure temperature. I denotes increased physical exercises and improve ventilation. L stands for learn to adopt online system of education and limit exposure. And the E speaks about embrace the change, equip yourself and enjoy the experience. So that I think covers in addition to all that you have said. And plus, we have to prioritize the human touch now. It is not only the physical part, social part, the emotional and the psychological things which we are dealing with. So let's see how things unfold. This is the strategy we have planned for. More focus on immunity, health, and safety awareness for everyone. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you so much for sharing those amazing acronyms. And just to add a perspective to this, the school as image was concerned, the school had, has had a very big hit on its image since some time, since it typically, a lot of business investment came into this. I think this very time would be a appropriate opportunity for a school to actually revamp itself. Corona or COVID-19 has a lot of disease hotspots from where the disease is actually, taking the big shape. I think the school can now be the immunity hotspot, because we are the people who can actually increase this awareness through children, because children are the easiest and the most influential change drivers in society. So I think a school right now should think on the empathy perspective of it, because this good lockdown is typically a golden period or a utopian dream that all the educationists always had of having a value education class. And I think we got a perfect time with the perfect teachers, which were parents, to actually teach value education. So let's see what we get in the coming times. Let's now hear it from Cynthia ma'am. Cynthia ma'am, over to you for the next 3 minutes. You can unmute your audio.
Hello, good evening, everybody. And I think most of what I had in mind, Maushmi ma'am has already said all of that. And I will not say everything is positive that's happening right now. When in education you have so many stakeholders, it's always difficult to maintain a balance. And now with this pandemic and this lockdown period, this struggle of balancing the perspectives of different stakeholders has increased manifold. I am from a school which is in a semi-urban area. So we have all kinds of students from various financial backgrounds. So there are some families which have many smartphones, some which have only one. And of course, depending on their backgrounds, there are different ways in which parents are, influencing their children also right now. But this was there always. Yes, this has just heightened now. So what I feel is that when we all come back to school, I think what has started now with teachers has to be, we've always, everybody says, like sir said, that of course teachers are very positive about it. They have taken the bull by the horns. But many a times, barring a few who might be a little lethargic, this has been quite a testing time for them also. So many of them were not at all into e-learning. How much of e-learning was happening in schools also, we know very well. There might have been 1 or 2 free periods where students were sent to witness the e-classes, and now we get to know that how important it is. So I think our teachers need to be kept highly motivated, and this e-learning, like Rashmi ma'am said that she's from the IT background, we not being from the IT background also have realized how important being digitally efficient now is for all educators. So for our teachers, like we have all big words, they are facilitators. First, we have to make so many changes, and that these facilitators themselves are motivated to continue this e-learning process that has come as a compulsion right now. So I feel where India has been pushed into e-learning 10 years ahead all of a sudden, therein this is a chance for all school administrators, principals, managements to actually motivate their teachers not to let this e-learning sidetrack at all. In fact, so many of the teachers who started with this online teaching thought only PowerPoint presentations were the way to go about it. So I think we need to tell them how to avoid death by PowerPoint and so many other tools and apps which can make their teaching techniques more interesting to their students. And once these students will connect with us, I think the facilitators will not have much problem after the lockdown is lifted. And operational factors will also be a challenge, which we as administrators, however much we may plan A and B, we'll surely face a lot of problem when we, get down on a day-to-day basis. But as far as the pedagogical skills are concerned, I think first it is for us to actually make a team of those teachers who will be able to teach and motivate those teachers who are not into these IT skills. And we must continue with this, I think, because if they are going to work double shift, once the school reopens, then they need to do away with a lot of the traditional copy checking work. The CBSE, so I think use.
Thank you so much, Cynthia ma'am. I will again try to get some more thoughts from you. The time was over, but some amazing thoughts again. Thank you so much for sharing. Just to give you one more perspective on school, or the model of a school relied on volume, and volumes being handled by single individuals. And I think this by definition cannot be used anymore in a school. So we'll also have to think on a financial SOP for the school, that how would we sustain, because costs will now go up. And once they go up, it'll be difficult to sustain the model. So Rajesh ji has joined us. So over to you, sir. Next 3 minutes are yours. You can unmute your audio.
I'll surely take the time, keep it surely. The best thing is, the COVID has impacted us on 3 fronts. First is the physical one, second is the financial one, and the third is the psychological one. So when you are talking about financial situation, my thought, in my opinion, the schools have to, redesign few things. And here, when we talk about redesign, this has to start from the safety part of it first. The sanitization process has to start. It has to start right from the place the child boards the bus. Then he reaches school gate. Then he reaches to the ground. Then he reaches to the classroom. So all these things will require one or the other perspective and a change in the investment where the school has to put something. And the safety being the prime importance, the schools have to create that infrastructure. And for creation of that, and I'm sure every parent, they love their children. And that's where the school has to collaborate with the parents that yes, we need this. And I'm sure the parent will also would like to be part of it, because the safety of a child is prime importance to anyone. And that is where the redesign of the kind of budget we prepare. Normally, this was not a very, very prominent area, sanitization or hygiene, very, very small part of a school budget. It was always academics or the other, the laboratories and the things happening. So now we have to take care of it, that it becomes a very, especially for few, because that's what we are talking of, a new normal. So this will become a new normal where every school has to budget something, and that finances have to be adjusted. If it can be done within the fee, nothing like it. All will be happy, even parents will be happy. But in case if a little bit of it needs some, because maybe very first time, it requires a infrastructure, suppose like a sanitization tunnel, which you need to create at the gate itself. So these all things may require some finance, but I'm sure all schools will be able to manage it. And for the child safety, all principles are always there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rajesh sir. So before this talk comes to a conclusion, I would like to leave all of you with 2 or 3 food for thought, so that when we meet next, I can have some more ideas coming in from you. So what we could understand after talking to nearly 360, 370 school leaders from across the world, the skill sets that we were trying to develop in the child would now have to change. Because you'll have to right now think on a simple, there's a simple barometer now to everything. every kind of education that gets delivered at any level. That anything that technology can do is no more a payable human skill. So you'll have to judge every single content in your curriculum on this basis. Can tech do this? If tech can do this, let's not learn this. If tech cannot do this, then let's learn this. So what we could understand after talking to so many people was there are two elements which would always keep humans better than tech and which are the most difficult to teach. The first one being creativity. Creativity not in the sense of just colors and paintings. Creativity in the sense of critical thinking. Creativity in the sense of decision making. Creativity in the sense of having a perspective on things. Creativity in the sense that you teach your kid how to think. When you get into a problem, how do you do that problem solving? And so that you don't get impacted by it. And second, and the most important skill, because everybody here right now, I can point a finger very easily and say that we have all done this. And right now we're doing the opposite of it. We told kids, don't be on tech. And now we are telling everybody that be on tech for at least 6 hours a day, attend the virtual classrooms. So when we have, flipped sides like any typical politician, so it's right now our duty to understand one thing, that even if you are teaching, you are still opening the internet to him. You're still opening the online world to him. And there is no technology that can police. And when tech cannot police or cannot monitor, who will monitor that kid? The only thing that will monitor that kid is he himself. So you'll have to teach him wisdom. You'll have to right now go back to the original genesis of the word knowledge. If you actually look at the word meaning of knowledge, it comes from two words. First is know and the second is ledge. Ledge is typically where you stand. So knowledge simply means knowing your ledge, understanding where you are and what you need and what you don't. So we'll have to teach them wisdom. Now, how do we do these two things is very difficult because it does not need just a teacher. It needs an observer. It needs a psychiatrist. It needs somebody who can understand the needs. And finally, it needs somebody who can actually find the content that has to be given to a kid. And that we don't have. And we'll have to either train those humans or find those humans. And which is going to be a typical job now. Because in the coming times, as the world's biggest rating agencies, Moody's has already told that EdTech is going to be the biggest business. But there's a very small observation that I want to share with you. Most of these EdTech companies, or most of the education technology that we are using, they are not solving education issues. They are solving communication issues. So still, education issues remain to be solved. So I hope you keep writing a lot of observation papers, and I hope you enjoy the last 20-30 minutes.
Can I come in for a minute?
Trilok
Can I just come in for a minute?
I'll give you time if it's possible. So before we come to an end, we are doing a very small competition where we are trying to find out the most creative school in India. If you, your parents, your teachers, if you're doing anything creative, share it with us. We have a cash prize for it. It's a free competition to participate. The only reason to have a cash prize is to find any small little innovation that can make a difference. Because we are trying to create an idea repository that is actually of some use once this lockdown comes to an end. So if you're doing anything, and if you're not able to share it here, and if I was not able to give you time, please share it with the team. My team will stay connected with you. You can share it with us. And we'll even go in detail if you're doing something very nice. And we'll take that observation paper to the next level. So this basic webinar was typically to know your inclinations and give you some more stimulus on writing more and researching more. Because in the coming times, policy cannot simply govern education anymore. It used to do, it was already redundant, we all know it. But right now, if you want a policy change, what would it be? We don't know that. So let's find that out, create observation papers, and we'll try to take them to the right people. Just in some days, we are having the Honorable Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla ji come on one of the webinars. We'll send you an invitation for that as well. You can all attend. And if you have any ideas that you want to share with him, please share it with us. We're going to share the first white paper with him for implementation so that he forwards it to the MHRD. So if you want a policy change or you think that there are changes that are required, please share those with us. And I hope you enjoyed the last 20-30 minutes. Trilok said the problem is 40 minutes are over. We'll try to give you in some other webinar. Thank you so much, people, for participating. If you enjoyed and if you want to attend the future session, you can all open your audio and say a big yes. And thank you so much for attending.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Daksh.